everybody. Kylene here from Fashion Crushes in downtown Casper, Wyoming with Wednesday wardrobing for you. So the collection that we launched last week was our Olive You the Most collection. That is being featured on the screen behind me. And it was a collection that was built around olive green and peach and combining those two colors together. And so I had the idea for this week's Wednesday wardrobing to talk about wearing green in general. Because there's really a lot to it. There's blue greens and yellow based greens. Green can be intimidating. Some people are like, oh my gosh, that's just way too much color for me. And so I just thought that we would kind of go over all of that to help you feel more confident about wearing green. So first and foremost, let's start out with color psychology. So green is known to be, you know, it's all about growth. It's about balance. It's about renewal, and it's also a color that is known to help boost your mood, help you feel grounded, and a little bit more peaceful. You know, this is kind of, if you think about, like, if you sit down in a park with, green grass around you, or go to a mountain with lots of green trees around you, that there's a very calming sense of that. That is one of the things that green does for us. So as a color, it's a great color to wear, especially when we're needing to evoke those kinds of things in our lives for that particular day or time. So it's a great color. I love it, and you shouldn't be scared of it. First and foremost, you have to determine, is it a yellow-based green or a blue-based green, and what color do you need? So if you are a cool-toned person, you're gonna want to have a blue-based green. Conversely, if you're a yellow-toned or a warm-toned person, you're going to want a yellow-toned green. So let's just look at a couple of those different versions, because there are as many shades of green as there are black or any other like color that you think, oh, black is black is black, and then you get into a store and you're like, no, black is not black. Green is the same way. There's so many colors of green. Just think about, if you're looking out over a landscape of trees and there's a bunch of different types of trees, every tree is going to have a slightly different shade of green. So blue-based greens, this is a great example. They're cooler, and they kind of usually tend toward the sage or even the emerald side of the palette. So here's a great example of a blue-based green. Here's another one. This is a very similar. This would be considered like a sage olive green. Here's a really nice deep olive that's blue-based. So it has definitely the cool tones happening in there, very pretty. Here's a jean. That's a blue-based jean. So you can see that it's very cool, dark, and very cool, very pretty. And this is also a blue-based green, but starting to get a little bit closer to those yellow greens. And then we hop over into the yellow-based greens. So this is a great example of that. So you can see how much brighter and warmer it is. This is what is trendy. They're calling apple green, which is a really trendy green this season. Apple green is a great example of usually a more yellow-based green. Here's another example of a yellow-based olive. So really pretty, but lots of warm tones happening in there. This is another good example of a yellow-based green. And even getting into, again, your more like classic olives, they are usually a yellow base as well. So determining the right olive for you is really important. Just like any color, you want to be sure that you are choosing according to your own tone in your skin. If you're cool, you're going to choose cool. If you're warm, you're going to choose the warmer tones. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing I think with making green work is make it the star. Make it the star of the outfit. It gets really tricky when you want to try to wear green monochromatic, and I'm not saying that that isn't a beautiful option, and I'll show you a way that we can do that, but it's going to be a lot easier, especially if you're not confident about wearing green, to just add a pop of green to your wardrobe and let the green be the star of your wardrobe. So let's look at a couple examples of that. So we started off with this great little blue-based green. So on the bottom, you know, green can be great. It's usually a really nice color. It's usually a color that most skin tones can wear because, again, there's so many options within the green palette. But just wearing a little print that has a little touch of that green in it is a great, easy way to make a green pant work. So we've got this beautiful sage green, and then this little striped tee has that sage green in there, as well as some peach and some tan. So if you were scared of a print, you could do just a solid tan t-shirt, which would be lovely. You could do the peach with it, which is also a really great combination. And just this solid peach top is really beautiful paired back with that sage green. And we talked about doing monochromatic. The thing with going monochromatic is you want to make sure that your tones are the same. So you can have a darker and a lighter green as long as they're the same hue of green. So here's a great example. So we showed you that dark olive top that is so pretty blue based, and then these pants. So these two are slightly different. One is a silky fabric, the other one is more like a cotton fabric, but the hue is the same, so you can totally get away with doing head to toe. And that's what you have to be careful of. You wouldn't want to mix two hues of green because then things go off the rails pretty fast, right? And that's when you have to kind of, it's trickier to pull that off. I also love green with navy. So green and navy slacks is a great combination. And then of course, green looks really pretty paired up with dark denim because basically dark denim is navy blue. So whether you're navy slacks or dark denim, that's a great combination as well. And then you can always just do a print that has some really nice green in it, and then just keep that really simple with like a dark denim bottom or even a white bottom, which is pretty for summer. That's a great way to do green, especially if you're a little bit intimidated by it, is just choose a pretty print. If you're a little bit bolder, you could take that print and then pair it up with a coordinating green bottom, which is very pretty. I love that. Like, I would totally wear this, but I'm a little bit more adventuresome with my colors, and I'm adventuresome with prints too. So I would totally do this. Not everybody would, but this is a great example of how you could take a print, pair it with a green, make sure that that green is in the print, and then how pretty that becomes. And then I love green as a pop of color. So like you take a really pretty green top, this is again that apple green, and you pair it up with white, it's gonna be such a great pop of color for you that is really gonna make a striking outfit. So I think green works particularly well as that pop of color, especially when you get into these brighter greens. The other thing that green pairs really well back with khakis. So, you know, most all of us have a good khaki in our closet. So this is gonna be a classic combination. And notice whether you're doing a blue-green or a yellow-green, it's gonna work really great back with denim. So that's nice too, because you could always put a dark denim bottom with green, and it's gonna look really nice, whether you're doing the warm tone or the cool toned greens. Here's another example. So this is a darker warm toned green, almost like a, I don't even know how to describe this, almost like a brown green. Really pretty, and they're a great example again of how many different greens there are out there. But look at how pretty this blouse is with that darker tone. So this blouse has a little bit of that darker toned green in it, just one little stripe, and that's all we need to pull those two together and make a really pretty outfit. Another classic combination with green is brown. So brown is always going to be a great choice paired up with green, and again, very grounded, very earthy looking, but look at how pretty that is. Or even when we get with our olive green top, again, beautiful paired up together. So brown is always going to be an easy choice as well for you to be able to pair up those greens. And then you always have the option too of just using a pop of green in an accessory. So imagine like your khaki pants, a white t-shirt, and a great green handbag, maybe some green shoes if you can find something that matches, maybe some green jewelry, and just let your accessories be that fun pop of green. So this is a great color. It's a warm green from Hobo. This is called watercress. And then here is their cool green, which is beautiful. And this one is called Jade. So that jade works really well back with those sages. You can totally pull that off. Or even the cooler, darker, richer greens. It's really pretty paired up with those. And then the watercress, of course, works really pretty with these warmer toned greens. And you can see, even though they're not exactly the same shade, they're in the same hue, and so they work really, really well together. So you can see the key to wearing green really is determining the base. Is it a blue base or a yellow base, and then making your decisions accordingly. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see other Wednesday wardrobing videos, those are available on our YouTube channel, Fashion Crossroads Inc. So go check them out. Have a great day.